What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 6 of X and O's with Evan and Bros. I'm your gracious host, Evan. And guys, we're moving along. Week 2, Friday. It's going to be a party. Anyway, so joining me, next to me, almost didn't show up, but that's okay. He's here now, is L Daddy Sailor. Round of applause. You really do deserve it, though.
Thank you.
He texted me at like we shoot. So we give a little insight on the background. We shoot around 10 a.m. So not too late. I mean, not too early. I think that's a reasonable time. It gives me enough time to get the footage exported once we're done shooting and stuff like that. Because let me tell you, it takes a fucking long ass time. I told myself I wasn't going to cuss. My bad. Admit that.
Sorry, Sam.
Anyway. So you dirty man texted me at like 9:53 and I've been calling you all morning. I was like, can't do it. I got a headache. I can't do it.
You both called my bluff. I respect it.
Oh my God.
Dawson FaceTime like 4 times.
He's the worst. Anyway, so joining us through Zoom is Mr. Tall Scene Anwar. Look at that little curly top.
So cute.
Oh yeah.
You know what we look like? We look like the Three Stooges. I'm Mo. I don't know the other one.
One's curly, right?
One's curly. That's where I was getting to, but I forgot the third one.
I am not curly. Do not compare.
Anyway, so Toss is joining us through Zoom. Broderick Olin is also supposed to be here, but he's experiencing some tough technical difficulties, so hopefully he'll be joining us shortly, later in the episode. Now, on today's show, we'll be discussing, we got some good topics, I think. The NFL franchise tag deadline was Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and some players got paid, which is not... This is not a usual thing. Usually, players will play on the franchise tag. They never usually get a long-term deal done, which is shocking to me. Some notable deals were Chris Jones on Monday, I believe. Chris Jones on Monday, and Derrick Henry yesterday, which was huge, especially for a running back. And one notable player did not get paid. Next topic, Myles Garrett, who was not on the franchise tag, but he was going to be due this coming spring, got paid to stay in Cleveland. The $100 million defense end playing whack-a-mole got paid. Top 5 running backs salaries we're going to discuss because Derrick Henry just knocked the door down and put himself in there. And who do we think is overpaid? Who do we think is underpaid? There's a guy in there in that top 5. I'm like, wouldn't be paying him. There's another guy in that top 5. I'm like, he actually, at the time, and looking back now, definitely got paid correctly. But it's upsetting the way his career has gone so far. Kenny Stills, wide receiver, has been arrested for protesting Breanna Taylor's murder. Now, I think he was protesting with 100 people, something around there. And a lot of them got arrested. So we'll discuss that real quick. Dwayne Wade apologizes about all right, I want to press this. Every time I see an athlete apologizes, and I'm like, oh my God, are we losing another guy? Are we losing somebody else I can't root for? So he apologizes for supporting Nick Cannon's anti-Semitic comments. I'm getting sick and tired of this. I want to know why all this now is coming out. College basketball's number 1 recruit of 2021, Jonathan Kuminga. I always have to make sure with Eldad. Reclassifies to 2020 and will join the G League instead of a year in college. Which we're starting to see this trend. I think he follows suit with 3 other players who have committed to this G League kind of system. And they're getting, I think the highest one's getting paid around $4,500,000, right? I think so. We can check the numbers on that. Will we
$500,000?
$450,000?
Yeah, that's not how numbers work.
450,000?
That's right.
Yeah. What I said.
4,500,000.
Oh. Will we agree? Who knows? But that is why you're here, the audience and listeners, to find out. And now, further ado, L Daddy, hit that intro.
X's and O's
Turn it up, bro.
with Evan and Bros.
Got Trey Money here.
Yeah.
Okay, it's X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Of course, it's a talk show, man, talking about sports. The one and only Evan Miller, yeah, that's your host, doing analyzing with the side of jokes. Hey, X's and O's with Evan and Bros. X's and O's with Evan and Bros. X's and O's with Evan and Bros. Hey, analyzing with the side of jokes.
All right. Boys, first topic. The NFL's franchise tag deadline ended Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This, the players can play on a one-year franchise tag deal, which is the average salaries by position, right? Top five. It's like top five salaries by position. So I think some positions would get screwed over if they play on the franchise tag, especially if the player has had a year. So a player that we're going to be talking about is Derrick Henry. If he would have signed the franchise tag, he would have been playing at 10 mil, something ridiculous. It's like 10 mil, and there's some, cents involved in there, but around 10 mil. And now that he's signed the deal, he's going to be making 25 guaranteed. A total of it's around 50,000, 50 million. I meant 50,000. Yeah, you should quit. 50 million, which puts him fourth on the list of top 5 running backs paid. Now, if you ask me, Derrick Henry's easily a top 3. It's running back, and we'll talk about Chris Jones in a second, but running back's difficult to compare because I feel like one will have a great year, right? But then the next year, there's a different guy who has a great year. It's really tough. I think running back is so hard. And so we were talking yesterday how you pay for what they did, not for what they're going to do. Because it's hard to guess. It's hard to tell. So with Derrick's deal, I would argue, though, for the past 2 years, he's been, if not the most physical, dominant running back. The last 2 years, at least. Especially they always show the statistic of the second half of the season and how he it's like he will have 500 yards through the first 8 games, 580 something, close to 600. I think it's pretty on par with a lot of other running backs. Nothing crazy, right? Nothing absurd. And then the second half of the season hits, the last 8 games.
It's 1,000 yards.
It's like he's hitting 1,200 yards, and it's mind blowing what he does, what they're able to do in Tennessee, and obviously he fits their scheme perfectly. They run it through him, and this is why I believe that deal needed to be done, especially over the Tannehill deal, which he got paid over spring, and everybody was like, wait a minute, the offense doesn't really run through Tannehill. The offense runs through Derrick. And so that's why it left a lot of people a sour taste in the mouth. But I think this whole time, Tennessee assured Derrick, we will get a deal done for you. You are the focal point of our offense. We're going to treat you like that. But talking about the franchise tag, it's nice that he doesn't have to play on it. He needs that guaranteed money. It's a running back. You never know that shelf life. Even at Alabama, Derrick had, I think, over 400 carries his Heisman winning season. So he has a lot of tread on the tires. He's still young, 25 years old, but and he's high school's all-time rushing leader. So the dude definitely has some tread on the tires. But I think this is a good deal for Tennessee. I think it's smart to lock him up and you get him in his prime. And he's going to be, I think, again, he's still going to be probably, you can, again, depending on your scheme, depending how you want to use running backs, he's definitely the best power back in the league. Just by default that he's 6'3", 240, and he runs like a 4.44. I mean, but anyway, also, Chris Jones got a deal on Monday, making him the second highest paid defensive tackle. I think he gets $60 million total. With obviously some, I think, high guarantees on that. But Chris Jones is another guy. I don't know how Kansas City paid him. I really don't, guys. I don't know. They just paid Patrick Mahomes a week ago, $500 million. So I don't know how they were able to get this deal out there. But Chris Jones will be staying in Kansas City for the foreseeable future. I don't think I would ever want to be that guy, but I guess he wants to be. I would argue, and we talked about this earlier, that I don't know if you pay for a defensive tackle, but it's clear that Kansas City's in the win now mode, which they should be. They have their quarterback. They have the weapons. You got to go win now. So I don't blame them for paying Chris Jones, especially since that defense is always hit or miss. I feel like sometimes they have really good skill players all around. But obviously as a unit, they will let up some points here and there. But you can afford to do that when you have Patrick Mahomes tossing the rock. Guys, what do you think about Derrick Henry getting a deal done? What do you think about Chris Jones getting a deal done? Did you think this was going to happen? I'm going to toss it to Tossin first. What do you think, bro?
No, these are players that need to be locked up, like, for sure. And by locked up, I mean, like, these teams need to, like, have
might want to clarify that statement.
Well, I think you guys know what I meant.
Kenny Stills got locked up, technically, right?
Okay, but, like, the thing is, these days, you already have quarterbacks that can run, right? But, like, when you have a running back that can shed through a lot of these, like, super strong defenses, they deserve to be rewarded for what they're doing. And I think Derrick Henry, I've been watching Derrick Henry for a long time now.
Roll Tide, right, T?
Great athlete. And he definitely deserves to, like, be paid for the output of, like, sheer excellence that he's, like, showcasing on the field for sure.
So he's getting 4 years, $50 million, and 25.5 guaranteed, which, again, it's hard. I still think he's a little underpaid. That's just me. I would have tried to get 4 years is not a long time. And obviously, say he puts out 2 more good years, they're going to restructure the deal and he's going to get another extension. So I think that might be what Tennessee's planning for. So Tennessee does 4 years. He gets his guaranteed, 2 really good years put out, and then he signed up for another 4 years. And at that point, he'd be 27. He hasn't hit 30 yet. He's at 30. That 30 is like the death mark in the NFL for running backs, which I don't know why, because Frank Gore, I think Adrian Peterson is still producing, not at a super high level, but he is producing. And Mark Ingram, who's around 30 years old, and he's actually had his best career in the later half of his life, and I think that's a tribute to the Sean Payton. And he hasn't had as much tread on the tires in the NFL as he had in college and stuff like that. Eldad, what do you think about Chris Jones, Derrick Henry paid?
I do think the Derrick Henry deal, he did leave money on the table, because 4 years, $50 million isn't bad, but I think he should have tried to get more guarantees. I think $25 million in guarantees is just 2 years, and that's just so weak for a running back, considering how much guaranteed money other running backs have done.
And we'll talk more about the running backs in the later segment. But so, give me your thoughts on Chris Jones.
They did pay him because they're in a win now. He said he wasn't going to play unless he got a deal.
Yeah,
and they had to do it. I mean, now is really their best window, just because Mahomes is still on that rookie deal. They still have all the weapons, and you did need Chris Jones. He was probably their best defensive player in the Super Bowl, which, yeah, you had to pay him.
Yeah, I think you really...
I wouldn't have.
Yeah, that's tough because we talked about it earlier before they made the deal. We were like, you just don't. It's hard to pay unless it's like an Aaron Donald.
Yeah, like how many big defensive tackles have panned out?
Yeah, especially after the first, like they'll have, and he has been productive for 2 years, I think now, around 2 years and 2 or 3 years. And so, yes, he is really good.
Well, it's like they paid Frank Clark the same amount of money, basically, they paid Chris Jones. Somewhere around there. Because like I saw they were like top 5 highest defensive linemen, or like highest paid defensive linemen. And it's like Chris Jones 4th and Frank Clark's like 5th. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, the Frank Clark one doesn't look great.
Well, no, and it doesn't. The Frank Clark one is a little it's a little tough. And they have a lot of money in a lot of places where I'm like, I wouldn't be spending it there. But that's me. And I get it why they're doing it, because they are in that win mode situation.
It is the luxury of having like maybe the best QB in the league on a rookie deal.
Well, arguably now, because Tom and Belichick are no longer maybe even the best quarterback coach duo.
Yeah.
So they have, and we talk about Patty's locked up for 10 years or so. We don't know how long Andy Reid really wants to coach.
That's true.
I mean, he looks young. He looks spry. He looks like he could kick in a few more years without even contemplating retirement. Mm-hmm. But hypothetically speaking, say they do win 1 or 2 more. Does he really want to? What else is there to do? Will he ever pass Belichick as the greatest coach, even if he does win 2 or 3? I don't know. I mean, that's tough. So there's a couple situations where I don't know if paying Chris Jones, we talked about you had to do it. I don't know if I would have done it though.
Yeah. Their real luxury is that they also don't have to pay running backs. Like you could plug in over the years like Niall Davis.
That's
like
true.
Spencer Ware,
West.
Charkandrick West.
So,
like you could plug in whoever you want into that system and they'll be
succeed.
Incredible. Yeah.
Well, and that's why I wouldn't have spent a first round draft pick on a running back.
Yeah, it was I get why they went Edwards-Helaire. It's like pairing like possibly like prime Darren Sproles with like Patrick Mahomes, which is
maybe, but different topic for another day. I just don't. It's hard. I guess some running backs can only produce 1 year because they usually have people in front of them.
Yeah.
It
is tough. We only got 1 year of Edwards-Helaire.
And I'm biased. I get it. But I mean, my point why I'm biased is Derek only really had 1 year.
Yeah.
Najee's only going to have 1 year.
Yeah. So I'm
like, but I just feel like they're physically just built differently, where it's like, how do you pass up on a guy that's like 6'3", 240 that runs a 4.4 versus a guy who's 5'8", yes, he can catch the ball. Not denying that. Yes, I'm not denying he's not a talented player. I value, in NFL scouts do too, physical attributes differently. I mean, look at DK Metcalf. Like, I would have drafted that guy number 1 overall. And he's proven it. You'll get there. But, like, that's just like that type of athleticism, physically gifted, where you're like, I can make this into something.
Yeah. And they probably should have gone defense. I mean, it's their weak
point.
And
that's what I mean. I think a lot of people are like, probably should have gone like linebacker, something like that.
Yeah.
But especially, again, running back is iffy, especially when there's other guys who I think were better at the position, who I would have taken first. But that's just me. All right, we're going to move on to our next topic. So, kind of in the vein of paying players, Myles Garrett, defensive end for the Cleveland Browns, got the bag. The man got paid. So, what do you think? It's a season early. He's getting paid now versus later. They probably didn't want to do an extensive holdout because he is obviously one of the youngest, one of the most exciting defensive players in the league. I'm not denying that. But it's just kind of interesting because he has had not a checkered pass that's like, oh my, not like a Josh Gordon incident. The dude, all I've seen looks like a really nice, really smart dude. I'm a fan of Myles Garrett. But he has had some on the field not tantrums, but
some people do think he's kind of a dirty player. I have seen that go around.
It's just it's just kind of it's like you don't want to admit that he's a dirty player, but he's done some things in the past where you're like, why is that your instinct to go there?
Yeah, even like looking past like the obvious Mason Rudolph one, there's been like, it might be just because like Steelers fans hate him and like
and also,
all the fans that play against him hate him.
I'm gonna say I get it. The AFC North is like
everyone's a dirty player.
Everyone's a dirty, especially like Bengals. You're really out here calling people dirty
that
players.
Bengals Steelers playoff game. I mean, they were just like headhunting.
Literally, like Bounty Gate,
and that's why the Bengals lost because they were like
headhunt.
They played too dirty.
So the crazy thing about this deal is that, and Bleacher Report reports that it includes a record $100 million in guarantees.
It was the total contract was like 5 years, 125, right?
Yeah, 125. Yeah. So Garrett signed for 5 years, 125 million. Give him another defensive record, 200 million AAV. The defensive end becomes just the sixth player with 100 million guaranteed, joining Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Russell Wilson, and Matt Ryan. I think that's insane because one, all those we just mentioned are quarterbacks. Yeah. Go ahead.
Myles Garrett's agent. Well done. I mean,
this is why I want to be an agent so freaking bad.
It's an unreal contract. Can you imagine 100 million in guarantees and you're the highest paid defensive lineman ever per year?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such good negotiating.
No, and so he surpasses Khalil Mack. And I don't know what this says about Garrett. You know, obviously wanting to committed to Cleveland, which I think is a tough thing to say. Especially after the down year they had. And he already had kind of a spotty year. But I think obviously you get your money. I think Cleveland probably could pay him the most out of any other franchise anyway. And I respect players who are like, I want to try to win with my organization. I want to be here for the long haul. I respect that. But it's tough being thrown on that orange and brown and lacing them up every day and be like, yeah, we're going to succeed today. Maybe get a win. But I think it was smart for Cleveland to get this deal done. You always get one of the premier pass rushers, premier defensive players in the league, young still. I think this is smart. It feels like Myles Garrett's been in the league for a while now, but he's still like
24.
Yeah, 24, probably just entering his prime. He was drafted number 1 overall in 2015. So yeah, 2015. I think he's entering his 4th year in the league, either 4th or 5th. It would be because they picked up the player option, so it'd be his 5th year in the league.
Yeah.
So he would have played on the team's player option, but obviously they're extending him. And kudos to him for wanting to be in Cleveland long term.
It is paying him for like future potential too. It like factors in like his production and what he could be, because he's not like the best defensive end. Or
isn't that funny though? How he's getting paid for possible future production versus running backs, where they get paid for past production.
I would not play running back. I mean, if I'm an athlete, I'm just steering away from that position.
You on anything else?
Anything else. I mean, everyone else gets paid.
I know it's kind of like people love there is star power that comes with the running back position.
Yeah.
For sure, I think over if you're an athlete, right? And you probably played both defensive and offensive side of the ball. There's probably you get more spotlight obviously be on the offensive side of the ball when it comes to, just people know who you are more, especially because of fantasy football, versus like if you play safety, free safety, defensive back, really. There are a lot of defensive backs that have kind of like especially if you're a talker.
It's really like the great ones and then the ones you just are just so bad they shouldn't be on the field.
Those
That's
are
the
ones
only
know.
way you get recognized.
Exactly. It's true. You're getting burnt for, by Tyreek Hill, or you're covering Tyreek Hill, and you're doing a really good job. Not a lot of people can say that. So, yeah, I wouldn't, it would be, being in the running back market's so tough. But on Myles Garrett, he deserves this deal for future production. He's young, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. He just can't be hitting people with the helmet. He's got to stay away from doing that. Don't rip it off and then hit him with it. Savage move. Savage. But you can't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Like, especially when your team's trying to be competitive and make like a playoff push. It's not going to work. Can't do it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Like and subscribe. See you on the other side.
Hey guys, take this moment to like and subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Curbside Entertainment and Curbside Network, respectively. You can also find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to X's and O's with Evan and Bros. I'm your host, Evan. Joining me at the table is L Daddy. What's up, buddy?
Tired.
Yeah, I know. Join us through Zoom, just like before. Tossine.
What's up?
Hey, sorry you disappeared there for a little bit, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Finally joining us through Zoom, he got his internet working, is Mr. Broderick Olin.
Let's go! Sorry, some technical problems, but I just need to talk about Myles Garrett real quickly. There's a common misconception. He was not trying to kill Mason Rudolph. He was simply just trying to get the helmet back on his head.
Back on his head.
That is it. He deserves every cent of that deal. He's my boy.
Good deal?
Good deal.
Good deal. Okay. So you heard us talk about how he joins all these freaking quarterbacks as being the only player getting over $100 million guaranteed. Earned it?
Mm-hmm. Earned it. When you watch this guy play, if he's not getting a sack, he's putting pressure on the quarterback nearly every play. And
so why doesn't Clowney want to come join him?
Because we already have like a pretty good defensive line, and it's starting to get crowded there. Maybe if we could get some trades going or free up some space, but I mean, the more the merrier, I guess. But the fantasy's got something going on, so I'm not going to question it.
That's what they said about Freddie. They're like, Freddie's got something going on. Man. All right. So we're going to move on. We let Broderick have his little, his little minute speech there about Myles Garrett. So, running backs. Top 5. Paid. Pull them up. We got. Does everybody have their list? No.
No.
All right. Well, number 1 is obviously what's his face? Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott's getting paid 6 years now. I think he's in year. His holdout was 2 years ago. It wasn't last year.
I think it was last year.
You do think it was last year?
Yeah, because it wasn't the year he got suspended.
Okay.
Because that was 2 years ago.
So anyway, he's getting paid $90 million, 50 guaranteed. But that in retrospect, Derrick Henry's getting paid 25 guaranteed.
That's how an agent negotiates.
So he's getting paid 25 more. And at the time of Zeke's deal, I agreed where Zeke was the focal point of that offense. I'm still not saying he isn't, because he is still the focal point of that offense. Just like Derrick Henry is the focal point of his offense. Christian McCaffrey is the second highest paid. He's on a 4-year, similar to Derrick Henry. $64 million and 38.2 guaranteed. Now, I actually think this guaranteed money, 38.2, is way more probably what Derek should have been kind of aiming for. Instead of 25, maybe get
They're like 3 years guaranteed.
closer to 30 or something. 30 guaranteed, 32. Not saying, I don't think, again, it depends on your scheme. It depends how you use your running backs. You know, Christian McCaffrey is a very different running back than Derrick Henry. Rightfully earned his money, just like how Derrick earned his money, but I still think he should have been paid more. Actually, Derrick isn't even top 3 though. Le'Veon Bell is the 3rd highest paid running back, which the Jets overpaid for sure, which makes sense why Adam Gase is trying to get rid of Le'Veon Bell because he's cap strapped because of Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, but Adam Gase doesn't make the best decisions. So we don't know who's in the right.
Adam Gase also doesn't want Jamal Adams, so I guess he just doesn't like good players.
That is true. We saw that in Miami.
But still on the running backs, you know, we all agree that Le'Veon Bell's probably overpaid, especially at this point in his career.
I'd say yet to see. He had one down year, so I don't want to label him overpaid quite yet. But if he doesn't perform like Steelers Le'Veon this year, then I'll label him as overpaid.
Now, David Johnson is 5th on this list. Derrick Henry's 4th. Le'Veon Johnson is 5th. The David Johnson deal, $39 million. Now, he got paid 2 years ago. And then obviously he suffered his injury. This looks so smart on the Cardinals. Well, I guess now a Texan, but he was a Cardinal because at the time when he was paid, wasn't he first in all purpose?
Mm-hmm. Had a great year.
Had a great year. Similar how these guys will have a great year and then they get paid. But they were able to kind of keep him on the cheap side of things where they probably could have, because at the time, think about it, right? Top running backs you were considering were David Johnson, Le'Veon Bell. Right? It was like that 2016, 2015 kind of year. And you're like, oh, these guys are the best. Easily. 1 and 2. You can argue. And they got him that cheap. And then now, obviously, the Texans take on that contract. So I do think, I'm hoping, because I'm a big David Johnson guy, that he comes back and can be where that contract is underpaid. I'm really hoping for him because he also looks like a really cool dude, real nice guy. You don't hear anything bad about him. Stays out of trouble, stays out of the limelight. He just does his job, which you got to respect, especially in today's social media day and age. So I think that deal is right now is perfect. Well, obviously it depends if he comes back. If he comes back and he can't produce like how he was, overpaid. But if he comes back and produces how he was, underpaid. That's how my thoughts on it. Guys, what's your thoughts on that top 5 list of the highest paid running backs? We'll start with Project since he just got here.
I see some well-deserving, and then I see some question marks.
Let's hear it.
So it used to be kind of a trend to sit out and get paid, but I think that's starting to go away with these running backs that are doing it, and they get paid and they underperform. Le'Veon Bell is kind of like the prime example. And I don't want to label his contract, I guess, as a bust quite yet, just because he's only had 1 year.
I did.
But yeah, you labeled him as a bust, but.
Not a bust. I just think you can't pay.
Yeah, you can't pay him that much to perform how he did. Like, he didn't perform terribly, but.
Also, if you think about it, it's different where he got paid to come somewhere and play. The Jets went out and got him from Pittsburgh, right? So it'd be different if another team, San Francisco, went out and paid Derrick Henry. You're keeping them in your system, in your scheme. That's why it's smart for Tennessee, because you basically have an idea of what they can do in your scheme, in your system. The Jets had no fucking idea. Sorry, not going to cuss. 2 1s. All right. The Jets had no idea what Le'Veon Bell was going to do in their scheme. They hoped that he was going to do what he was doing in Pittsburgh. You see, that's my point. It's harder if you're keeping them in-house, do it. Pay them. Pay for what they did. But if you're going to go out and pay top dollar to bring in a running back, that's a little tough. A little hard to sell.
I think it depends more on the running back and the team because, like you said, the Jets have no idea what they're doing or what they wanted to do. They just saw Le'Veon Bell, a big name, and said, let's go get him. But are you telling me you can't really fit Derrick Henry into most teams? because Derrick Henry is just kind of, you can feed him the ball, 20 to 30 times a game, and he'll get you probably guaranteed 100. That's pretty fair, right?
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, I don't think you can do that, even though he has the pass catching abilities.
I just don't. Derrick he's a power back.
Yeah.
Now, if you throw him up in Green Bay, how they're trying. If they're trying to switch to a power back system, that's what they're trying to do. But yet you still have the threat of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams over the top. Mm-hmm. Holy shit! I want to see that so bad. Oh my god! Now I want to see him in green and yellow. All right, Derrick, get traded. And I love him in Nashville.
I guess back to the original. When you look at Christian McCaffrey, he's basically the focal point of that Panthers offense. So I think he's definitely deserved. And same with like Henry. Zeke, it seems like he's getting paid and the Cowboys don't want to run him.
That's a good point.
He's getting paid all that money and they're like, Dak, go win us this game. They do the best when Zeke is running the ball, like two downs, and then you do a play action, or 2 downs, and then you let Dak. They're just trying to say, Dak, go win us this game, which I think you can't do that.
Well, it's funny. So I kind of going off that. It's like Dallas wants to have this star quarterback so bad. Mm-hmm. But in history, they've had really Emmitt Smith, right? Hall of Fame running back. They've had history of like their running backs perform pretty well, or at least they have a pedigree. So I don't know why they're not scared, but they want their quarterback to be that Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, I think, so bad, where they're like the face of the franchise and they're the face of the NFL. But in
Jerry Jones, it's all about the money.
But in this case, it's like the running back is your best player. Zeke is their best player. Play him, use him, utilize him. He wants to be used.
Like when you look at the Cowboys record, I forgot the amount of rushes Zeke had, but when Zeke had more than that amount, they won nearly every game, and then when he went under that amount, they lost a majority of them. So it's pretty clear that there's a correlation of if you run Zeke more, you win more games. So that's just my thoughts on the list. I think 2 are deserving. And then the rest are kind of like some question marks. So
wait, who are deserving?
I think Christian McCaffrey is deserving. Zeke is deserving, even though Cowboys don't really want to rush him. Le'Veon Bell's a huge question mark. David Johnson, huge question mark.
What about Derrick?
Deserving. Sorry. 3 deserving.
Okay. All right. I was like, are you really about to say Derrick is question mark? Because he's basically the same point.
I got my numbers wrong. Okay. 3 deserving, 2 question marks.
Don't worry. I get so many things wrong on this show. Don't worry. All right. T.
Viewers, listen to how many times Evan mixed up names and mispronounces
We should really just get a chalkboard in here and just mark them up.
Just have a whiteboard behind you. Just put a tick just tick it every time Evan mispronounces something.
T. What do you think about the top 5 list?
Well, the thing is, if you're gonna make this list of like the top 5 played to like the top 5 best running backs too, I would also say that like David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell don't.
That's a good point. Now, just sorry to cut you off. If you think about it, right? If we look at now, we're going to talk about right after this who we think is the next back to get paid. But he's right where if you look at this list, and if we did do a top 5 running back list, which we will, probably I would only have 2 of the guys out of this top 5 paid on my list. Maybe 3, but most definitely 2. Go ahead, T.
Well, that's the thing. Like I respect David Johnson, but like if I were to make a list, I don't know if I'd put him in my top 10 for like running backs.
I hope he gets there.
Not even like I don't even know if he'd be top 20, but like that's the thing. No, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
in terms of, like, not top 20? Your 49ers guy who wants to get traded. Mostert? Get that shit out of here.
That's the thing. When you have running backs like Nick Chubb out there.
Oh, let's go.
That's what I'm saying. Like these are players that I feel like are more like, deserving of like, these like bigger contracts.
They're still on the rookie deal though. So I mean, Nick Chubb will get paid if the Cleveland.
No,
has
he will,
money.
he will. But I'm just saying, like, but David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell, like at this point, like it's just like all just like money deals just going around. Like, I think Zeke definitely deserves it. I think even though I hate the Cowboys, I just hate the Cowboys. When it comes to Derrick Henry, I think he deserves it too. I think if anything, he deserves more.
So you think he's a little underpaid, right?
Oh yeah, underpaid
I
for
think
sure.
I think we all can agree that he's probably a little underpaid. I think his agent could have done a little better. But also, now there could be a lot of things that go into this because we didn't think after them paying Tannehill how much money they had in the bank. Maybe Derek did leave some money on the table to help his franchise. Now, I think that could be, Tom Brady did it a long time up in New England where he kept restructuring his deal. So maybe Derek was in a sense, hey, I only need 25. I don't need. I mean, yes, you should go out and get as much money as you need, but maybe he was coming from a different mindset where he was like, I want you to surround this team with talent so you can pay and keep people here, keep people in house. So maybe that's a thought. Maybe he was like, who knows? Who knows his intentions?
Yeah.
I like
Derrick
to think.
Henry confirmed, nice guy, unselfish man.
There you go.
Oh,
Hey, I just broke that story. I didn't mean to do it, but I broke it. So all right, T, continue.
Well, he's definitely not like Johnny Manziel or anything, but no, but I guess my biggest point was just that, like, three of them were deserving in that top 5 list. 2 of them I just didn't feel like were fully guaranteed. And like, but you brought the point up earlier. It seems like these days they pay running backs based off of what they've done, not necessarily what they're gonna do. Just because you're not guaranteed that longevity when it comes to a running back's like performance.
Agreed. Elden, thoughts on the top 5?
The Zeke thing is really interesting. So we all agree that the Cowboys don't really use him enough, right?
Yeah.
But last year, he was actually second in carries in the NFL. He had like 301 carries. I was looking at it last night. So like, that just kind of highlights how stupid the Cowboys are. Because there's games where like they give him like 10 carries, and then there's games where they give him 40. And that's how it bounces out to like second. But I do think Zeke is deserving.
Okay.
McCaffrey's deserving. He might be underpaid because, like, I mean, he's basically like essentially a top receiver and a top running back.
And now that Cam is gone, and I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, and I hate the way they've constructed their wide receiving core. They're all like 5'9", and they're all like slot receivers, and they're asking them to play on the outside.
Yeah.
They go from Kevin Devin Funches and Kelvin Benjamin to
DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel.
What are they doing? Like, it's like a 180. Keep going.
Le'Veon, it is tough to say. He should have stayed in Pittsburgh. It was like the exact same contract Pittsburgh offered him. The Jets have, I think, a bottom 2 offensive line in the league, if not the worst.
They still don't have tackles, right?
Yeah. So I think they were.
Broderick, you're wearing a Browns jersey, okay? It's not
And
like
we have a good line now.
Hey, they do.
Well, hold on. Maybe
You guys always have a good team on paper.
maybe.
On
Hey, man,
paper.
everyone's a Browns fan, bro.
Hey,
This is the year.
Hey, Jedrick Willis, he's gonna be a baller for you. I promise. He's gonna be good.
I'm happy with him.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, Eldad.
You're good. But I think the Jets were kind of banking on Le'Veon being able to transcend any scheme because they were like, I mean, he
Catches the ball.
He catches the ball,
Runs
he
the
runs,
ball.
but he was never a super efficient guy. Even in Pittsburgh, I think his yards per carry were still like around maybe even under 4. So he was
I think it
never
was under 4.
Yeah, he was always like a high volume guy, and Adam Gase didn't even want to give him the ball this year. It felt like so that one's tough, but he definitely is overpaid for the production he had this past year. Derrick Henry's deserving. But I thought about it, and the reason Derrick might have not taken a bigger contract is because they showed like the running back class, like the possible free agent class this year, and like I think following this year, it's like Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, even Kenyon Drake, who had a great year. It's just like it's Kareem Hunt, who you could get for probably really cheap. There's just so many. I don't think Derrick had that much leverage because let's say he did play on the franchise tag this year. and then didn't have a good year or got hurt, they could go out and basically get any other running back. There's like 15 other running backs that they probably wouldn't play at Derrick Henry's level.
Drake together.
Well, he probably wouldn't have been in Tennessee if they went and got Kenyon Drake. But I would have loved to see them suit up again together.
That's what I was saying.
That was a nice little transition, Dad.
Thank you. Also, David Johnson, I feel so bad for him. I mean, there's some plays last year where he couldn't run. I mean, he literally, if you look at his acceleration, like I'm pretty sure any one of us could run faster and hit the holes faster than he did. His back is just...
Well, he's had knee injuries, and
it's bad. I want him to get back to
David Johnson.
Like
I
2 years ago.
I think it'll be a better league if he comes out swinging for Texas. If he plays for the Texans like how he was playing for Cardinals before he got injured, it's going to be a different ball game. And then I'll tell you what, Bill O'Brien could look smart in that deal. Bill O'Brien, the head coach of the Houston Texans, he could look smart, maybe, sometimes. All right, so that's a great transition. We're going to move to that. Who do we think is next in line to get paid out of the running back position? Who's going to crack that top 5? Who's going to kick David Johnson out, even though we're just talking about him? I think my guy, and I'm reluctant to say him, but when I look at actually the talent and where I'm like, I don't think New Orleans is going to break the bank for Alvin Kamara.
I knew he was going to say Kamara.
I don't think they're going to do it just because they didn't break it for Mark. And they're kind of the way I think Sean has an idea with his offense where they can plug in players.
They plugged in Latavius a couple of games.
That's what I'm saying.
It's pretty good.
They let Darren Sproles go when his contract was up. They've done this where they let a lot of their players go. Obviously, Kamara, I think, is better than a lot of those, but he had kind of had a down year. I just think because they weren't utilizing him enough. But you can also make an argument, Drew Brees is leaving. He's on the way out. That's no secret. Drew Brees is going to the booth. So are they going to switch it up where they're going to rely more on the running back position? That could be a very big possibility. But my pick is obviously Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings. That similar to, unlike Kamara, where it is more of a passing game there, Minnesota, they traded Diggs away. They traded Diggs away because they run the rock up in Minnesota. So I think Dalvin Cook is rightfully paid. The only question mark I have is his injury history. That's the question mark. That's the big one. So I think he can stay healthy. He has the acceleration. He has the power. He has the ability to be an every down back. And he looks so good in that purple. All right. So my pick's Dalvin Cook. He's going to get paid. He'll probably get paid. I think he's pissed to see what Derek got paid. Because, they're always probably rooting for the next guy to get the bag. Because it only makes their market bigger. I think he will probably get paid similar. I bet higher guarantees. I suppose I still think Derek got paid lower in the guaranteed. I'm going to guess not as big as McCaffrey, but probably around 33. McCaffrey, yeah.
You're throwing a T in there.
Well, it's my show. If there's a T in there, it's going to be a T in there. Dalvin Cook is my pick. Eldad.
I think Dalvin Cook is the obvious one. I could see New Orleans paying for Kamara in the end just because they're like, Drew Brees is gone. Mm-hmm. All we have left is Jameis, which is going to be so good. Please.
But then they're going to have to pay Jameis. If Jameis pans out, Jameis is cashing out. Oh,
yep.
See what I did there? So, keep going.
But I think a sleeper guy could be Aaron Jones. Just because he had such a big year this year. If he has another... Plus, I think he was like a 6th round pick, so I'm pretty sure his contract is up.
It's up like now?
like right now.
Yeah.
But, I mean... Yeah, it's such a huge year.
Especially because Green Bay is moving towards that power back position. And keep going.
And they're big. Green Bay has just... I know it's new management now, kind of. But historically, they just do not get free agents. and definitely no help for Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, if they let Aaron Jones go, I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna just
retire.
Maybe
Might have to.
he's gonna shoot his coach.
He's gonna shoot his coach. Broderick, who's the next guy? Aaron Jones.
Evan, I was gonna say Dalvin Cook,
but then you're like, I have this number 24 jersey in my closet. Let me just toss this on.
I mean, Chubb's gonna get paid eventually, but he's going into his third year, so he's still got some time.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Dalvin Cook, but when you look at the Vikings offense, 2 years ago they were pass heavy, and then Stefanski took over the play calling, then it went to very run heavy.
I would argue they wanted to be run heavy, but Dalvin Cook tore his ACL in the year prior, so he was kind of unavailable.
But it's still with the Stefanski offense, and he's gone, so there's that uncertainty to what they want to do. I'm not doubting they're still going to run the ball, but I'm not.
Zimmer wants to run the ball.
Yeah, I'm not very well versed on the Vikings offense and like their schemes and stuff. I obviously know the Browns, and that's about it. But so I'll
branch
go back
out
to
a little bit
with Kamara. I think he's going to lead, like you said, the Saints, kind of like the New England of the NFC. They sometimes don't play players and let them walk. I think they'll do that with Kamara because Eldad raised a good point with Latavius Murray coming in, balling out. So I think Kamara's going to walk and go to, I don't know, like the Raiders or something.
Oh, well, they got Joshua Jacobs. Josh is,
who is also going to get paid.
Joshua Jacobs also will get paid, but there's a lot of good young running backs. You know what's crazy about that? I was just thinking, and you might cream your Nike shorts.
Jeez.
The Niners.
Yes, the Niners. Wouldn't it be insane?
Do they have the money though?
I don't know if they have the money, but they didn't pay Buckner. So what if they saved that money? They're like, hey, I want Kamara's, and they're going to probably trade Mostert, whatever his name is.
They will.
Mostert.
So would it be insane to see him in the red and gold?
I mean, if they shed the McKinnon contract and the Coleman contract.
Oh my gosh.
I like it.
That would be crazy. All right, T, who's getting paid?
Well, if this is a conversation about like who's getting paid over or who deserves to get paid over David Johnson, then like all the people that you mentioned, Dalvin Cook, Nick Chubb,
but he's
Leonard
not up
Fournette
yet
too.
Fournette's interesting. That's
I think Fournette,
a weird boat.
I think Fournette could do like a prove it deal.
I think he should go somewhere else.
I think he could do a 1-year prove it deal with like a team. You know, oh damn! You know what I was gonna say? Notice how we didn't say Saquon. Who's from?
Saquon
I mean,
Saquon's in the same class
so
as
much
Chubb,
time,
so they've got some time.
Oh, for some reason. No idea.
Now, what are you guys whispering about?
I for some reason I had some sick fantasy where McCaffrey. Am I throwing a T in there? Christian. Christian.
Perfect.
CMC.
Christian and Saquon were from the same draft class. For some reason, I was thinking that. I don't know why.
I think they were back-to-back years, right?
Yeah. 2018 was Saquon. But continue, T. Who's the guy?
Well, the guy for me, I think since Mike McCarthy left and now you're running under Matt LaFleur's offense, Aaron Jones, I think you'll start seeing more of a bigger presence. And I think if he lives up to that hype with the bigger, like, if he lives up to that performance, I guess, in that, like, offense, then he definitely deserves, like, a huge contract.
So, you know that I both agree probably Aaron Jones is a sneaky pick?
Yeah.
I want to say something about... You go.
Look at the Packers. They drafted 3 tackles, right? Or like 3 offensive linemen, a blocking tight end, another running back,
and a running quarterback.
Yeah. Seems like LaFleur wants to get that running offense going.
Oh, yeah.
No wide receivers. Poor Rodgers. Go ahead.
What's interesting about the Dalvin thing and them being like run heavy, like I remember last year they started off super run heavy and then their receivers got pissed that they were so run heavy. So I think it's just, and obviously Diggs is gone, and I think he probably was more vocal about it, but Thielen also called out Cousins. And I know Jefferson's not calling anybody out his rookie year, but it's the Vikings, I don't know if they pay Dalvin just because of the turmoil of like, what do they want their offense to be?
Well, they did let
I don't think
AP
they have the
go,
balance.
but AP was what? Was he 29?
And I think he's coming off the child thing, right?
He was coming
Yeah.
off the controversy. So I have Dalvin Cook,
Aaron.
Towson, Aaron, and Broderick,
Kamara.
We believe these running backs are next in line to kick David Johnson's ass out of the top 5. All right,
You
guys.
can't really get wrong with any of them.
We're going to take a break. No, you can't. We're going to take a quick break real quick, and then we'll be right back with you for after this. Thank you.
Take this moment to like and subscribe. And also follow us on the Instagram and Twitter at Curbside Entertainment and at Curbside Network, respectively. You can also find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to X's and O's with Evan and Bros. I'm your host, Evan. Joining me at the table is L Daddy Sailor.
Yes, sir.
Joining us through Zoom is Broderick O'Lynn. And joining us high out of his mind is Trey Money, our intro and outro creator. Check out his new album, Neon Trey, out on Apple Music, Spotify. There's your plug.
better not watch this.
All right. So we just finished talking about top 5 running backs in the league and how paid wise, top 5 running backs being paid and who we believed was next in line. Next topic. So Kenny Stills and a bunch of people, he wasn't the only one, but were arrested over protesting Breanna Taylor's death and her murderers who have not been arrested yet. Now, again, my friends make fun of me because I say this is not a political show, but I do think it's important we can just hit this topic real quick. We're not going to spend all day on it, but how can you, now I don't know a lot of the details on why a lot of these people were arrested or why they, but it is ridiculous that he was arrested. It is wrong that he was arrested for protesting what I believe was peacefully the murder, of Breanna Taylor, who was murdered. And a lot of those cops are still, or all of them are still out there. They have not been held accountable appropriately, and that's a problem. Eldad?
I don't think the Louisville Police Department could handle the situation any worse than they have because they've arrested literally everybody other than the cops. Like, at least arrest them, investigate it, and if
you find something, then go. Let the judicial system do its job.
Yeah.
But you got to arrest them.
Yeah, you can't just be...
Especially when
these protesters are here. Arrest them.
I turn on Twitter every day, and I see the same tweet. Don't forget her name, Breanna Taylor. Every day. I know her name better than I know these players' names, and I've been watching these players' names for a while now. Broderick, what do you think of the whole situation?
Just kind of speechless because as far as I know, it was peaceful protesting. Like Eldad said, they're arresting the protesters, but not doing anything to these cops. And like I said, you don't want this to be a political show, but when it involves NFL players, I feel like it's something we have to talk about. And these NFL players are making a stand, and still nothing's being said or done about it. And I don't know what more people can really do if there's athletes, celebrities,
so
everyone talking about it and even protesting it, and still nothing's being done.
I don't know if I think what they should do is the NFL should get on top of this. And if I was a PR person for NFL, I'd be like, Roger Goodell, you should release a statement right now and be like, we're in full support of Kenny Stills. Or if I'm the Texans, I don't know if they have. I have not seen anything that they have. If I was them, I would be up in full support right now. Trey Money, what's up?
Well, my biggest thing is so you have people like Kenny Stills. I think YBN Corday, like the rapper, also got arrested.
Bunch of people did.
Right. So my biggest thing is that obviously Breanna Taylor, the biggest thing is that when these people aren't trending on Twitter, it seems like a lot of their awareness goes away too, just because the trend goes away with it. But when you have players like Kenny Stills, when you have an organization like the NFL where there's a lot of African Americans and the whole movement for Breanna Taylor Ahmaud Arbery and like George Floyd is for like the justice for African Americans. It goes hand in hand to me. And when you have players like Kenny Stills stand up for it and they get arrested, it goes into the same stance as like if they weren't to say anything and be silent, the silence speaks just as much. And these people tend to also get canceled. When you look at a lot of rappers, like they'll be so quick to be like, oh, J. Cole didn't say anything, but they don't know that J. Cole is out there on the streets. But they'll be so quick to say that J. Cole didn't say anything on Twitter, we should cancel him. And it's just like,
listen, we're about to talk about another topic that involves Twitter.
Cancel culture.
I'm sick and tired of people trying to make racially charged or political statements on Twitter. I'm tired of it because we talked about this earlier when Deshaun Jackson's stupid ass comments were he made. You can't make a freaking point on Twitter. You can't do it.
Well, the problem is the polarization, right? So if you're going to make a statement like that, you're either going to have like the super like people that are for you just be like a whole thread of comments, or the people that are like on the other side, there's like a whole other side. And it just seems like these people either live on their side of Twitter and there's no productive conversation going on. You're not convincing someone else.
It's harder to convince somebody when they're, 100 miles away or 1,000 miles away. And then also you can be as stubborn and as ignorant as listen, you don't have to listen when you're on Twitter. You can literally just, and that's what people do stuff on Twitter, I swear, and they do it, and there's trolls or whatever, but they do it just to egg people on. 90% of things I read, I think people don't even believe them. I think they just want to get people like either pissed off, riled up, or whatever. So,
oh yeah, trolls everywhere on Twitter,
right? And they're the worst type of people. But that's our thoughts on Kenny Stills. Hopefully he'll be released soon. I don't know if he has or not. I don't know what the bond is. But it's stupid. He shouldn't have been protesting peacefully. And arrest the murderers, please. So we're going to move on to, again, that topic that I was kind of hinting at surrounding. Guys, is there a trend going on about anti-Semitism? Is this a popular thing that I am just now being opened up to? This is so freaking stupid. And what if you believe any of these? I'm dumbfounded, to be honest. And I just don't know. Now the podcast that Nick Cannon's podcast. If you're unfamiliar, over the weekend, Nick Cannon, or over this week, Nick Cannon's been fired from Viacom CBS for insensitive remarks that he did not apologize for. Viacom CBS asked him to apologize. They didn't just fire him abruptly. They asked him to apologize for comments he made over a year ago about various anti-Semitism remarks. And Dwayne Wade, so all this is coming out now. And Dwayne Wade, apparently he deleted his tweet, but this is Dwayne Wade's response to the statement, and he showed support for Nick Cannon. He said, "I want to clarify my now deleted tweet. I was not supporting or condoning what Nick Cannon specifically said, but I had expressed my support of him owning the content and brand he helped create." Yes, he did help create it. And that's fine. I believe you can separate the person from the artist. But also, Kevin Spacey is a rapist. And a lot of people can't separate the artist from the art. Where it's like, all right, now you have to cancel House of Cards. Or you can't watch House of Cards because Kevin Spacey's in it. 7. You can't watch 7 because Kevin Spacey's in it. Rightfully so, Kevin Spacey's a piece of shit human being and deserves to be behind bars for the rest of his life. Or I don't even know if he's arrested, to be honest.
I don't think
anyway,
so.
But he's a disgusting human being. That's facts. But players, God, read what you're tweeting, what you're supporting. For the love of God, that's all I want. Support what you want to support. But don't go and be like, tweet support and then be like, oh, he said what? So his reps probably clarified. His agent probably had to call Dwayne Wade and was like, dude, do you know what you just said? He's like, no, what? He was like, he said some bad stuff. And so, and Dwayne Wade he clarified and said, I was too quick to respond without being fully informed about his hurtful anti-Semitic remarks. As you all know, I have zero tolerance for any hate speech, which is true because in his daughter is part of the LGBTQ community. He attends tons of rallies and has taken, he's a big advocate, which rightfully so. He has become involved in that whole world. So he's probably very familiar with hate speech and obviously being African American. But Dwayne, we just got done with Deshaun Jackson. People love you, dude. Why you got to screw it up with? Quit showing support on Twitter. I'm done. All right, Eldad.
I do think it's funny that he just tweeted out, "We're behind you. Keep leading," without even like. There's no way.
There's no context. That was Deshaun Jackson's problem. He didn't provide context.
Well, there's no context Deshaun could have provided.
Fair enough.
But like, there's no way he saw a Nick Cannon headline that didn't say fired for anti-Semitic remarks. Like, every single headline you saw explicitly said why he was fired.
Keep talking.
But it is weird. I don't know why this podcast resurfaced after a year, because it was, it came out last year, right?
Came out last year.
So it is, like, I don't know who resurfaced it. Again.
Are you kidding me? You don't know who resurfaced it? James Gunn got fired from Disney for 2011 tweets.
Fair enough.
Cancel culture.
They're troll searching.
But like Nick Cannon, all you had to do was apologize. And it's not even hard comments to apologize for. He was throwing out like the most like conspiracy, like I guess like not trigger words, but like these like obvious words that are used by conspiracists.
The podcast is Cannon's Class Podcast. And this was recorded last year and it was reposted June 30th. So it's been a little over 2 weeks. And I guess during that 2 week period, Viacom was like, dude, just apologize.
Please.
That's all. Just make a statement. And he doubled down, did not apologize. And that's a fireable offense. If all these people are getting fired for not as racist things, not as hateful things, then you gotta, come on.
I mean, anti-Semitism is like, again, one of the principles of the KKK. Like, you cannot literally just go to you can't have the same ideas as the other extreme. That's just incredibly dangerous.
It defeats the purpose. And again, I don't know how vocal Nick Cannon has been through this whole BLM movement. I assume he's been very vocal. I'm sure he's been very supportive. But dude, you're just adding fuel to the fire of the other side that hates your movement, that is against your movement. Why are you doing this? You're only hurting yourself. Broderick, how stupid is Dwayne Wade? Do we accept Dwayne Wade's apology? I mean, I do, but I think it's stupid that I have to.
Yeah, this just seems kind of like the halo effect, to where you can't see your idols or friends really doing anything bad. So I think Dwayne Wade just heard like, oh, Nick Cannon's been fired. So he just kind of immediately went out and said, oh, I support Nick Cannon without.
But Eldad's right. We're all the headlines. It's not just Nick Cannon fired from Viacom CBS. Nick Cannon's fired from Viacom CBS for not apologizing for anti-Semitic remarks. That's like the headline everywhere.
And I feel like Dwayne Wade was like, no way Nick Cannon could have done this. It's like you just see them in such a bright light, to where it's like, just imagine, Evan, you would never say something like that. But if someone said like, oh, Evan's under a lot of heat, I would come to your support.
Oh, you would. I get it. No matter
what. But then I would think to investigate later, not right away. Because I was like, Evan's in trouble. I need to help him. I wouldn't immediately think,
I appreciate
Evan did
it.
something wrong.
Thanks, bro.
That's just the example that I feel like would make the most sense. I got you.
My dog.
But like, I know they're good friends, so he was probably like, "Oh, he didn't do anything wrong. Let me help him," and then he went further into it.
So
even though it was probably very tough to miss those headlines, somehow Dwayne Wade did.
So during the podcast, Cannon said, "We are giving this is." I just want everybody to know this is Nick Cannon. This is not Evan Miller. We are giving too much power to they. And then they turns into the Illuminati, the Zionists, the Rothschilds, which I don't even know what that is.
You don't know
Like
the
a
Rothschild
major-
or the
yeah, it's
Rothschild
like a
family?
Giant conspiracy theory.
It's considered an
Control all the
anti-Semitic
banks.
dog whistle. Cannon also said that black people are the true Hebrews. Toss it.
Okay, so here's the thing. If Nick Cannon hasn't apologized about it, it's probably something he stands by like strongly. So I don't know if he was convinced. I don't know if he was like in a smoke session and they were like all together and they're like, yeah, he was definitely convinced. But here's the thing.
People are the real Hebrews. No.
But here's the thing though. The thing is, by the end of the day, like he still has a show on Fox. I'm pretty sure he still has Wild and Out.
No.
I think he could honestly
Wild and Out's canceled.
Oh, it is? Okay, yeah. That should tell you how much I keep up with Nick Cannon.
Wild and Out is on MTV. Viacom CBS owns Wild and Out.
No, but that's the thing though. I don't know if you've seen the show, but like the way that he carries himself, he thinks of himself as like, you know, like a very like a big star. So I think he is like in his head a little bit when it comes to like making remarks. He thinks he can stand by something and not be like canceled. And I don't think people understand how like quick you can like fall down from being a star as well. You have to be careful these days about like what you say, even if it is like on one side more than the other side. I think people tend to like not realize how much of a like thin line they tend to tread. But I think the comments that Nick Cannon made though, yes, they were anti-Semitic, but I do feel like he was trying to get like a stronger point across, and that's just that like the black, like African Americans specifically, are like undermined by a lot of other cultures that tend to like succeed more for like doing like less. The reason he brought up the Rothschild family is just because it's generational wealth that built up a lot, and they tend to all be in like the top 1%. And it's just like comments like that, like it's just like that topic that like he was trying to bring up, and he didn't voice it in a good way at all, in my opinion, and that just like backfired on him. So, and Nick Cannon, he's just reckless. He's just right. He's just like,
well, he's kind of a hothead. You know, I think
he's a hothead, but
he definitely speaks before thinking, and I do the same thing. And so, but I don't really say anti-Semitic remarks when I speak first.
Also, about the whole like not getting his message across correctly, it's weird because like, I mean, this is like part of the problem with like Farrakhan. Like, black empowerment doesn't have to be hand in hand with anti-Semitism. Also, Nick Cannon was like, we can't be like, I'm not anti-Semitic because we are the original like Semitic people, which I'm not going to get into because I don't want to. But
that's completely wrong. If you want to get into that, that's completely wrong.
Yes, it is completely wrong. But that's the thing. That's what's stupid about these remarks. It doesn't make any sense. Like, what is he trying to say? Because you're wrong, Nick. You are, and it's okay to be wrong. But you're so wrong.
But also, like, just because, like, assuming what he said is true, you could be black and hate black people. You could be white and hate white people. Like, it's not, you're still anti-Semitic if you just say stuff like that.
I think outing a racial group for the sake of your own racial group is wrong. Like, regardless.
Well, isn't that racism? But
no, that is. But I don't think people.
But like we were talking about this. Judaism is a religion. It's not like a race, right?
No, it's a race too. Being a Jew is a race and a religion.
Yeah, it's like
it's a race.
It's between ethnicity and like religion. Yeah.
Is it ethnicity or is it a race?
It's both. Well, actually, I don't know about that. I know it's a religion and a. I want to say ethnicity, not a race.
I think it's ethnicity, not
because
race.
Ethnicity is different from race. Anyway,
Race, I think, is skin color.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So, okay. So, Cannon has also praised Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan, who has how do you say it? Espoused anti-Semitic and anti-LGBT heretic for decades. And the initial blowback for the controversy, Cannon refused to publicly apologize for his comments, leading to the dismissal. Again, Viacom CBS owns MTV, which airs Wild 'N Out. This is Viacom's statement. We have spoken with Nick Cannon about an episode of his podcast, Cannon's Class, on YouTube, which promoted hateful speech and spread anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. The Viacom CBS statement read, while we support ongoing education, dialogue, and the fight against bigotry, we are deeply troubled that Nick has failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetuating anti-Semitism, and we are terminating our relationship with him, which they are allowed to do. They asked him to publicly apologize. He refused to do so. Nick?
I think he could have at least come out with an apology where he at least voiced the way that he felt and still apologized. I think that's the best route that he could have taken.
Agreed. But did he do that?
Stubborn.
Yeah, the problem is that he doesn't see his comments as anti-Semitic.
Mhm.
And I think that's really the root of the problem.
But back on D Wade, I'm happy D Wade apologized because that's what you have to do. And Nick Cannon didn't do it.
Please read before you tweet anything.
Read the article. It just takes one click because I'm sure the link is there. So just read the
first
article.
Sentence, the headline.
You don't have to go in depth, right? Literally, you don't have to do anything like that. Read the article. Read what they're supporting. Because Dwayne Wade, you are a big advocate for LGBTQ, but the people that you're showing support are not. So, family matters. I think so. I love you, Dwayne, but that was stupid. All right, we're gonna move on.
Dwayne Wade's a hard guy to hate.
He is a hard guy to hate, and I don't hate Dwayne Wade. I don't want that to sound like I hate him. I actually love Dwayne Wade. And he apologized, which again, in my world, used to be good enough.
Apparently, the apology isn't worth much anymore.
No.
Well, you aren't on that episode, but it's because it's the, it's the standard that we have set in our own society nowadays. Then an apology is not good enough. It's where there has to be action. There has to be consequences for things you say that could be taken out of context, but you still have to apologize for it.
Nothing makes sense, bro.
You think it makes sense?
I said nothing makes sense.
No, nothing makes sense. All right, we're going to move on. So, college basketball's number one recruit of 2021, Jonathan Kuminga. Damn it. Like y'all would have gotten it on the first try. Whatever. He reclassifies.
You need to hit that sound effect every single time Evan makes it.
Hold on. Hey, we got 8 minutes. He reclassifies to the class of 2020 and intends to join the G League. This is another big basketball recruit that is joining the G League and foregoing college. This is actually kind of not a scary trend because they're allowed to do what they want and full support, go get that money if you're willing to work. And especially because we've seen a lot of these high school stats where they're just destroying the competition.
20 blocks a game.
It's ridiculous. They're beyond and above the talent that they're playing against. So I'm rooting for the G League to become this spot for these players. But we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how this class goes. It could fail, and they could end up not doing as well as they thought. But I'm confused because G League teams have teams in G League. So, are they on their roster?
No. They don't even play G League teams explicitly. They're going to play from what I saw, they play these select European under 19 teams.
Interesting. So whose roster are they on?
It's just they created a new G League team. It's not on anybody's like NBA roster. Or
Okay.
anything. It's like its own G League.
It's its
entity.
own G League team.
Yeah.
That's part of
I'm
the
very
NBA
pro
G League.
overseas now.
Very pro overseas.
Yeah, I think players should do what LaMelo Ball did. Go secure the bag, travel the world, buy your own team, make some more money doing that, and still be a top 5 pick, most likely.
Well, also, but a lot of people didn't have the brand that LaMelo had.
That's right.
Going into that thing where they could go overseas and still be in the news.
Well, RJ Hampton also went to
But nobody
Australia
talks
with
about
LaMelo, and RJ Hampton was considered a potential top 5 pick. And
Well,
now,
he was a top 5 player coming out.
I don't know if he's lottery now.
No. And so
it goes either way.
it'll be interesting because think about it, like Zion still went number 1. DeAndre Ayton still went number 1, even though Luka, was balling out overseas. So it's just, it'll be interesting to see, and players are still committing to colleges. The number one was it number 1 center who just committed to Memphis. Sis. Sis.
Musa Sis. Did he commit to Memphis?
He just committed to Memphis the other day.
That's
And
the 20 blocks guy.
And that's the 20 blocks guy. So you see these, so players are still coming to college. It's just, we're all college students could you imagine not going? I feel like it's such
if they offered me $500K coming out, I wouldn't.
But it's just a part of life now in society where one, it's a talking point. It's something you share in common with a bunch of people. And it's just even though I understand it's just 1 year that a lot of them go, but it's my freshman year was impactful. I still enjoyed my freshman year. So, and you meet a lot of lifelong friends in college, and obviously it's different from football because that team is you get 3 years in the system. I think if college basketball wants to survive, maybe you have to restrict staying more than 1 year if you come to compete, because if players are already going to go to the G League for a 1 year deal, basically, maybe you have to counteract it, go the counter approach, and be if you come, you have to be 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, but then I think you don't get these top recruits.
But my point is they're not getting them anyway.
Well, yeah. If you look at the people who have gone the G League route, it's Jalen Green, who's arguably number 1. It's either him or Cade Cunningham. Kuminga was number 1 in 2021.
So he's coming in. Yep.
He's number 4 for 2020.
Tough.
That's just how good the 2020 class is. But Isaiah Todd, another 5-star. Daishen Nix from UCLA, another 5-star point guard. These were all top 25 recruits.
A lot of guards
that went
that are going the G League route.
I think Kuminga's a forward. Jalen's a 2.
Yeah.
Daishen's a 1. They're going to have a sick team. I think Todd might be a 5.
So
I think it's a pretty balanced roster.
Are all these players on the same team?
Yes. It's just one G League select team.
Such a badass squad.
It's sick.
This is such a cool team.
They might be able to run through the actual G League.
Yeah. No, they might put that on. They might retire a lot of those players who are still in the G League. Guys, quick thoughts on this. Broderick.
Yeah, I would like college basketball is so big with March Madness, and I hate that these players are going overseas or G League, but I also love it because they're getting paid. A lot of people have families to support. They're getting, I think, better experience playing against actual professionals. So NCAA, just pay your athletes. Just pay them.
That is also a good point. That's how you could stop it. If you pay them. Dawson.
Well, no, yeah, I think at least for the aspect of basketball, just because of the environment that the NBA creates, I think you should at least pay the basketball athletes. And when it comes down to it, there was a couple of times when I hung out with a couple UGA basketball players. And
Flex.
Okay, T.
Hey, look at you now.
For certain reasons, but
I said, look at you now.
Yeah, look at me now. I'm on Curbside Entertainment.
Hell yeah, you are.
But no, but they voiced, the major fact being that, if you're not playing for Duke, if you're not playing for certain schools in the NCAA, and if you're not a certain player with a certain amount of hype, This like playing in college is just you playing in college is what it seems like sometimes.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is, but also, like, you know how, think about when Zion was at Duke, and this will be the last point before we end the show. Well, and he got paid. But when he was at Duke, that was all you saw on ESPN.
Yep.
It was LeBron highlights, and it was Zion highlights at Duke. So could you imagine if the college basketball didn't have that type of draw? It'd be kind of dead in the water until March Madness.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of like golf until like a major tournament plays.
Yep.
So, all right, y'all. That's today's show. You guys have an excellent weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Hey, it's my birthday weekend. We're turning 23.
The big 2-3.
We're getting rowdy, y'all. See ya.
Jordan, you.
Play that outro. Jordan here. My T-Swift ears sucked.